All right, good morning, everyone. This is Andrew Zimmerman, one of the lead meteorologists at the National Weather Service in Wakefield. I'm filling in for Katie today with the state briefing since she's out of the office. Uh, so we'll get moving here through what we're looking at for the upcoming week here. Overall, generally fairly quiet, but to start the day here, we've got a fair amount of clouds and even some light showers across the northern portion of the northern portion of the Commonwealth here this morning. But this really, some of these echoes kind of actually look a little worse than they actually are. This not a whole lot. No, not a whole lot of rain is falling out of these radar returns here. Looking at the observed precipitation, it's generally just kind of a few hundredths of an inch out there. And even back here into West Virginia, probably hardly even up to a tenth. So we're not really expecting much in the way from any of those showers this morning. And it looks like as we move through the day, some of that activity will break apart, and we'll see more sun as we go through the day, and that will lead to more warmer and breezy conditions as we move into the afternoon. Relative humidity is not going to be as low as we observed over the weekend, so no fire danger statements at all for today, and even into tomorrow when it remains kind of warm and breezy on Tuesday. Relative humidity is going to be a little higher, so we're not necessarily looking at any significant concerns with increased fire danger, but we are still, a lot of the states still is in drought status. So, certainly could be some localized issues if there's, from any ignition sources, but weather conditions are not going to be conducive to, really any kind of more significant, wildfire threat. But as we move through the week, temperature is going to remain warm, and even into the Easter weekend. As we get Wednesday and then through the end of the weekend and next weekend, we do have a chance for showers and a few thunderstorms, primarily during the afternoon hours. But at this point, it's really not. A few days ago, the general model trends were wetter late this week, but it's kind of trended to more, not necessarily drier, but more of like a more typical warm season pattern where most of the day ends up rain free, and then maybe some isolated scattered activity in the afternoon, early evening hours. And then we do potentially get a cold front through the Commonwealth as we get late Sunday, early Monday is the timing a lot of the models have at this point. That would look to return kind of temperatures back to near normal after being above normal much of this week. So as you can see here, kind of in the overview, high pressure sits offshore really kind of through the week. That allows warm and breezy conditions. It looks fairly breezy, today, tomorrow, and then maybe not quite as much wind as we get later in the week. But this front that's comes down into the Ohio Valley as we get Wednesday through Friday, that the latest trends are for that to stall and more of the notable rainfall to remain west of the Appalachians. So it's looking like much of Virginia is not looking at any kind of steady rainfall later in the week. It's more generally isolated, scattered afternoon, evening activity, early evening activity. Breezy today and tomorrow. Looking at generally, southwesterly wind gusts of 20 to 30 miles per hour. That's kind of along with the warm temperatures, that's mainly what's going on the next, kind of as we move into this afternoon into tomorrow, once we kind of get these clouds to clear out today. Thunderstorm potential the next 3 days, not looking at any thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, we're just kind of in general thunder. Would not surprise me if there could be a stronger storm or two across mainly the higher terrain, west of the Shenandoah Valley Wednesday afternoon. But right now we're just in general thunder. But maybe something to keep an eye on, that there could be a stronger storm or two, but it's certainly not looking like anything widespread at this point. 3-day rainfall here, on average, a tenth to a quarter of an inch Wednesday afternoon and evening. And again, that's going to be highest kind of along and west of the Blue Ridge. Some of the latest trends could keep much of more central eastern Virginia generally dry through the day Wednesday. So we'll kind of watch those trends, but overall not looking like any heavy, widespread, certainly not any widespread heavy rainfall here through 3 days, the next 3 days. Looking at rainfall the next 7 days, based on the latest trends, it's still going to be hit and miss Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So the bulk of this 7-day total here will probably be waiting on that next front to come through later Sunday, early Monday. So that's, again, that's nearly a week out at this point. So there is still a good bit of uncertainty with timing of that front and how much moisture will be left. So, this is just kind of a general on average rainfall over the next week. Potentially, this could be a little generous across the eastern part of the state, but we'll see how trends continue through the week here. There you can see temperature wise, we'll be well above normal through the week. Much of the state seeing, looking at highs in the 80s, just a little cooler across the higher terrain, and then behind that next front, which is nearly a week out at this point, trending back to near normal. And given the warm temperatures, we're not really looking at not anywhere close to any freeze conditions overnight. So we're going to spring will get well underway as we finish out March and move into April here. We get the longer daylight hours, warm temperatures. So spring will definitely, if it's not underway already, which it is, but it will really should see a lot of vegetation start coming out here over the next as we move through this week. And there are rain chances, kind of highest right now Wednesday afternoon, evening, and then it's just it's lower chances really. And this is really trended down as we get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, those chances have trended downward. And then what we have in there for Sunday right now, pretty broad brushed at this point, based on some uncertainty with the timing of the next front. This is last Thursday's drought monitor. Still have a lot of the western Piedmont, Blue Ridge, bit of the Shenandoah Valley. It's still in D2. So we did have a decent rain last Friday evening, but probably nothing that's really going to significantly alter the drought status when this is updated later this week. As we move kind of into this weekend, into the middle of next week, overall looking at above normal temperatures, primarily again above normal into the weekend, and then probably trending back toward normal early next week behind that next cold front. And 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook favors above normal precipitation, but not seeing any really clear signals of widespread rain at this point. That is kind of the space weather slide we have in there. There really isn't anything today. I did notice when I took a look at this that tomorrow's actually in the moderate category. That probably would not result in too many significant impacts, but I'd say, should be about all I have at this point. We should have our next email briefing out Thursday, unless anything changes. But at this point, not looking like anything really significant weather-wise this week. So with that, I thank everybody for their time this morning.